Hi YouTube, this is We All Juggle Knives with the Brissa Enzo Necker, sometimes called the Necker 70. I'm doing a voiceover narration because the noise from the wind was unbelievable when I was filming. Right, but this blade, 2.5 inches in blade length. It uses Sandvik Swedish stainless steel, traditional Scandi grind, fairly pointed. It's got curly birch handle scales. A closer look at the blade. You see it is a true full tang and very decent thickness for a short knife. A strong knife. There's no jimping, so it's not going to tear up your thumb when you're doing push cutting. And altogether, look, beautiful blade. Beautiful blade. The price on this, I checked Amazon around $55 to $60 when I checked it this morning. Yeah, I really like this company. Yeah, Brissa Enzo knives, good stuff. Here is the sheath. You see it's a traditional stitched leather sheath with a belt loop. It overlaps the handle by about like 40% of the handle. And it does hold it securely. Alright, so that's the sheath. Here is a size comparison with a Mora knife. This is an older Mora, but it very closely resembles what they call the Mora Bushcraft series of knives. So you see the Enzo knife significantly shorter and smaller than what a lot of people like to carry, right, for their Mora Bushcraft knife. Alright, you want to see this doing something. Going to roll in some demonstration footage, just carving into things. You can slice cordage and food too, but carving into things is a little tougher. It's a very sharp knife. One of the benefits of that Scandi grind, you see that there. Yeah, just showing it to you interacting with pieces of wood. Yeah, very sharp. Okay, I sped up the footage here just so you wouldn't have to watch like several minutes. You get the idea though. What I'm showing is that you can carve small pieces of wood to whatever you need to carve them into, whatever shape you need. There I'm making just like, I don't even know, just like a little crayon, sharpening this small piece of wood. But my point is, yeah, you can carve little pieces of wood for what you need. There's my creation there. A little double-sided crayon. Maybe you could dip it into some ink and use it as a little old-style pen. You can also make shavings. Right, here we are just making some long, thin shavings from that gnarly-ass piece of firewood. So yeah, you could make shavings, light them up with your fire starter. Sped this up again, just removing the bark from this little twig and then shaping it for no other reason than to just show you this knife working on more pieces of wood. So yeah, by now you get the idea. This is sharp and you can carve small pieces of wood to whatever you need. And here is the Scandi Necker next to its brother. This is the full flat grind Necker. All right, sorry it's a little dark there. Clouds came out. It was windy and cloudy and freezing, but yeah, they have a full flat ground version of this Necker. It's the same steel, the same blade shape, the same length and everything. However, it has micarta handle scales, right? And I will be reviewing this in the future, but I just wanted you to know they do have a full flat ground option. A little easier to sharpen. That does have a micro bevel on it, the full flat grind. And if you're looking for more like a kitchen utility, more food prep, you might want to check out that full flat grind version. Final conclusions on this knife from Finland. Well, I love this company. They've never let me down. Sandvik stainless steel is very popular with people. No complaints on the steel. The construction is solid, full tang, decent thickness for a small knife. The rounded off handle is very comfortable, right? And they left off the jimping again. That just makes it more comfortable. It's a nice pointed knife, a good slicer. The Scandi grind is favored by many. It does get really fine towards the edge, so not strictly as strong as if it had an edge bevel, but that's a well-known trade-off that people are willing to make. The size of the knife is very convenient, you know. Let's not underestimate the usefulness of this around town or around a city. I mean, it's a small enough knife that you can easily carry it most places, and just day-to-day use, it would be great. I mean, you don't even have to go out into the wilderness to find a small fixed blade useful. So yeah, wicked slicer, and I do think it's a bargain. Now, would you carry this instead of a Mora knife or instead of a larger or medium-size fixed blade? Not necessarily. I don't think it's an either-or proposition. You know, I don't think you're having to choose between this and a 4 or 5-inch blade because this thing weighs virtually nothing. It's super convenient. So what would you use it for out of doors? Typical tasks, you know, cutting cordage. You could slice up food with it. You could slice up animal tissue if you had to, you know, clean a squirrel or something. And you can carve little pieces of wood to whatever shape you need. So do I recommend it? Yes, on the strength of the design, the reputation of the company, and my personal experience with it and that of others. I hope you enjoyed seeing this blade. This has been We All Juggle Knives. I'm out.